You're listening to the Resilient Author Podcast, the show that goes beyond the pages to explore the grit, courage, and resilience it takes to write and publish a book. I'm your host, Carrie Human, and each week I sit down with authors to uncover the stories behind their stories, the challenges they faced, the breakthroughs they experienced, and the wisdom they've gained along the way. Whether you're working on your first chapter or celebrating your launch, this is the place to find inspiration and practical takeaways for your own author journey. Let's dive in. All right, Kathryn. So, for those who may not know you yet, what's your book about and what do you hope readers take away from it?
Well, my book is about self-love, meditation, and world peace. And I would love people to take away from it a little more self-acceptance, a better perspective on themselves, and maybe lighten up on themselves too and make their life a little happier.
Mm. We're definitely going to dive into each of those pillars of your book. But I'm always curious, most books sort of start with a spark, a question, something we can't stop thinking about. Where did the idea for this book first come from? And was there, like a specific moment or experience that really set this into motion?
Well, I've had a long, adventurous life. And I wrote this book because I needed it for myself. I suffered 2 divorces. And I decided I made some pretty bad decisions, I think, in my life. And it was time for me to find out who I really was and to really love myself enough to make better choices in my life. So that's where it came about. Also, I first started writing after reading A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. She inspired me. I just loved that book so much, and I was always been on a spiritual journey through my whole life. And so I started delving into my past. And it started out actually as a memoir, but
Mm.
it sort of progresses through life. I started writing as a memoir and it changed. I'm sure a lot of authors have found that happens.
Absolutely. It's funny too that you said that you more so wrote this book for yourself because you felt like you needed it. And I find that just with the authors and creatives I speak to, that seems to be a through line. We create what we need. And as
Yeah.
a result, as a byproduct, other people also need it, because there is
Well,
that
that's it.
collective consciousness.
Exactly, and I think I was the same when I created my meditation app. I recorded all the meditations that I needed and I wanted, and I wanted to be a certain way because I thought, well, if I like it like that, there must be other people that do too.
Absolutely. And we'll talk more about the app too. So, this is the Resilient Author Podcast. As authors, I know firsthand, I'm sure you can relate. There's a lot of resistance that comes with, sort of birthing a book, whether it's, self-doubt, perfectionism, or just life being life. What would you say was one of the biggest challenges while writing this book, and how did you move through that?
Oh my gosh, you are so right about all of that. It's so true. You are like giving birth to a book, but sometimes it takes more than 9 months. I mean, it took me
A lot
years.
more sometimes.
Oh, years. Honestly, I would start it and pick it up, and then life would get in the way, then I'd pick it up again, life it wasn't until I was, completely on my own, empty nester, no husband, no kids around, I thought, "I gotta get this done?" And I was, at the time, a health educator at Kaiser Permanente in San Francisco, and I was teaching a lot of classes there in the evenings. For different reasons, doctors would send them to my health education classes. So I would cure insomnia. I would look at medical weight management, people who are obese and had to lose weight for operations. And I taught anxiety classes, mindfulness-based stress reduction. Being a meditation teacher, I was able to help a lot of people. But I found that there was this one underlying commonality with all those classes was a lack of self-love.
Mm.
Because when you love something, you take care of it. And these people they didn't know how to take care of themselves. They didn't know how to be accountable and take full responsibility for their health and happiness. So I kind of switched the perspective from just me. What do I need? What worked for me with self-love to what's going to work for others. And I wanted this book to be like a beginner's guide for those people who, aren't used to these sort of nonfiction topics.
Mm. So, Kathryn, you hit on something that my wife and I talk about often. The concept of self-love. It sounds so simple, but as you mentioned, so many people struggle with it. In your experience, why is self-love so difficult for most of us to truly get behind?
Well, it is difficult. It's a lifelong process. I don't think you ever get there anyway, but it's chipping away at it. And it's difficult, I think, because we are raised a certain way by our families I mean, they're trying to make us better people by telling us we have to fix this about ourselves. We have to fix that. We have to be better at this and better grades and work. And you have to be better all the time. And then you get out into society and then you're bombarded with commercials and messages that say you're not good enough unless you buy this product. You're not attractive unless, and then of course we have the whole fashion industry and models telling us you have to be a certain weight and you have to be this, and then you have to buy a car or you're not going to be judged if you don't have a BMW or whatever it is. And it's constant messages from all around us telling us we're not good enough the way we are. So we have to chip away at that and find out that actually we're just fine, thank you. But
Mm,
it is difficult, and I think
mm,
that's probably the main reason.
mm. So this is a good time, I think, to talk about your book, Befriend Yourself. I had a chance to sort of skim it a little bit. I am looking forward to finishing, but it seems like it blends, psychology, mindfulness, and of course your lived experience. What inspired you to bring all those worlds together into one roadmap for peace specifically?
Well, that's it's so interesting. You have to as advice to other authors, write what you're passionate about. And I'm so passionate about meditation because when I was 16, I was seriously depressed teenager and I was about to get kicked out of school. But it
Mm,
turned my life around, this meditation course I took. And I ended up, my grades went through the roof. I learned how to use my mind and brain to access memory banks. And I ended up going to college, not getting kicked out of school. I ended up getting good enough grades to go and get a BA in psychology. So I also have a master's degree. And so that's why I have a lot of psychologically background book. The book is based on psychology for sure. And that's probably why, because of my background. And so that's how it came about. But I think the personal anecdotes are very important because they let people know that you've actually gone through, well, you know what you're talking about. You've gone through something and you've gotten to the end of it. And some of these techniques that I talk about in the book have helped. And I got those personal anecdotes from Marianne Williamson's book, Return to Love. I loved that she included things about her life. It made it relevant. It made it accessible. So I really wanted to share, and it was hard. I think it's the scariest thing I've ever done is to publish a book because I really did put my heart and soul into it. And I described some things that 30 years ago, I never would have written in writing or even told anyone about. I put in that book.
mm,
And the peace part, well, that's a subtitle, The Self-Love Path to Peace. It was that meditation experience of mine that I first experienced real peace.
mm,
Meditation will give you that palpable peace. You feel peace in your body, rippling through the cells of your body. You feel incredible inner peace from meditation. And I realized we have a vibration of peace. You can bring peace to a room by walking into it. You can spread peace in your family, your community by being more peaceful. And that's why this book really, the last chapter is about world peace, how you can contribute to world peace, but you have to become first peaceful yourself.
mm. So I was again doing a little bit of homework. You often, say that you have to become peaceful yourself if you want to contribute to world peace. Like how did you come to that understanding just like in your own life? Like it starts with us is what you're saying?
Absolutely. It's learning to meditate and making meditation mainstream, like brushing your teeth. People think, oh, it's woo-woo, I can't shut down my mind. It's you have to wear beads, you have to be a Buddhist, it's a religion. And there's all these myths and misconceptions around it. But it's scientifically proven method of stress relief. And this world is a lot of stress. And you can't avoid stress. It's not about avoiding stress, and you can't. As long as you're living and breathing and above ground, you're going to have stress. So you can learn to manage it. And meditation is the number one way to do it. And there's so many ways to meditate. There's just not one way. There are a lot of paths up the mountain, which I discuss in the book. And you find one that works for you.
Mm. I think you hit on a lot of really good points there, Catherine. It's interesting because it's not really even up for debate anymore. Like meditation, like clinically has so many different benefits. I know so many people in my life. I hear people say, I can't meditate. I'm too busy. I can't get my thoughts to stop. Like, how do you help someone who feels like they don't have time to meditate or like meditation just isn't for them? There's no way they could do it. They tried it. How do you talk to those people?
Well, it's so funny because when you do start to meditate, you find out you got more time. You're more efficient. Your brain is like ready to focus on stuff, whereas we're so busy multitasking and trying to get a million things done at once now. And in this digital age of texting back and liking and constantly clicky, stopping all that for 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night will make such a huge difference to your brain and to your life. So what was the question again? I got distracted.
No worries. For people who say they don't have time to
Uh,
meditate, they can't stop
well,
their thoughts. How do you get them
oh, okay.
involved?
Well, basically, you cannot shut down your brain. As long as you're alive, you're going to get thoughts. So it's not about that. What we do is when we close our eyes, we actually are shutting out 95% stimulation to the brain. So right there, your brain is getting a chance to reset and refocus just by closing your eyes. It's nothing weird about it. And so it's kind of like unplugging a computer for 5 minutes, letting it reboot. So that's all we're doing with meditation. And then there are different ways to do it. You can do it with a guided meditation. And that's what my specialty is I record guided meditations. That's what worked for me the most. And where a voice leads you to physical relaxation, or you go down the body and we relax different parts of the body. You learn to do that yourself. And then you calm your emotions, and then you feel like your thoughts. You become aware of those thoughts. But the thoughts are kind of like you're detached from them. I get people to see your thoughts coming in and out like clouds in the sky. They're over there. So it's not like you're shutting down your thoughts, but your eyes are closed and you can suddenly detach from them and go, wow, why am I still thinking about that? Or, okay, that's not so important right now. And then you build up this awareness of not paying attention to them. You let them come and go, kind of like a cloud, but you don't dive into the story because we're so used to following every single thought that pops into our brain. And like they call it monkey mind because you jump from branch of thought to branch of thought like a crazy monkey. And your brain does that. This was for. It's what your mind's for. It's to associate this with this, with this, with this. I mean, right now you might be looking at my earring going, oh, I know someone has an earring like that. I wonder if she's going to be at Thanksgiving. Oh, I wonder if what am I going to wear that day? Do I have to bring turkey? Before you know it, you went from my earring to thinking about turkey. I mean, and that was in 2 seconds. That's monkey mind. So what you're doing is when you meditate, those thoughts are over there and you realize they're just thoughts. They're not a big deal. You don't have to pay attention. And don't believe everything you think. Because a lot of these thoughts, we don't even know where we got them from. They could be like harsh, critical, judgment thoughts from your family that pop in. All these beliefs that are deep-seated in your subconscious brain pops up. Like, there's a lot of crap in there. You don't want to go down some of these neighborhoods, you know?
Yeah, there
Your
is a lot of
brain can
crap in
be a
there.
scary place.
Very scary. Absolutely. I'm curious in your experience, do you feel like the word meditation, do you find yourself using the word meditation versus, let's say, stress reduction for different types of people? Or do you feel like, I guess what I'm asking is that I found that there's some people who say I'll never meditate, but if you present it as stress reduction, they seem more receptive. Have you experienced anything like that?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. It's how you approach it so important. I teach a lot of corporate meditation classes. The HR department have given a wellness budget and they don't know what to
Mhm.
do with it. So they go, "Oh, here's a meditation. Let's go give them a power nap." So all these executives are like snoozing off in my class, but they think, oh, stress reduction. So it's cool. But they do get to feel that peace. And some of them really keep on doing it. They really love it. And some of them are like, just fall asleep and have a nap, which is fine. I don't
That was
care.
the best nap I've ever had.
Yes,
That's
they
funny.
just needed it. They're sleep deprived. They need it. People fall asleep in my classes all the time. I don't care. But whatever you call it, it doesn't really matter as long as you can experience it and choose for yourself how it makes you feel, how it helps your life. I call it also, I wrote an article for Yoga International, the difference between mindfulness and meditation.
Mm.
Because I had a lot of students say, what's the difference between mindfulness and meditation? I was getting confusing for a while. So there's a whole article people can Google about that. But, they're kind of similar but different. And I had to explain all that. And stress reduction, of course, stress management. It's definitely meditation for sure.
I'll put that in the show notes. That sounds really interesting. So, getting back to just your path as an author, you said it took you some time, it took more than 9 months. Like, how did the process of writing this book or becoming a published author, change you personally, creatively, or just professionally? Like, what changed for you when you became published?
No, I think it was, first of all, terror. I was scared that people were gonna read it and hate it or make fun of it. You can't help it. You have that imposter syndrome. We all go through it. And then I started getting reviews, and they were all great. And
Mm.
then the therapists buying it for their clients, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it actually is a good thing to put in the world?" Because it's really nerve-wracking. So then you get over that initial hump, and then you start to realize you're helping people.
Mm.
And that is a wonderful feeling. And it took me a long time to write this book. I recommend authors, my process was go to a library and I would book the time in the library. I would put it in my calendar like a doctor's appointment. I'd say to people, "Oh yeah, I've got a meeting from 3 till 6 today. I can't do anything till 6." And I would walk to the library. And I loved writing in the library. I was quiet, but you weren't alone. You were surrounded by books, which is so inspiring because you're surrounded by other authors who are published.
Mm.
And so the fact that now I'm one of those published authors, it's a little bit of an achievement, a lifetime achievement. I feel like I put something out into the world that will be here after I'm gone.
Mm. It's powerful. That's powerful. Every author, Catherine, has a different journey when it comes to publishing. Whether it's traditional, some do hybrid, some decide to self-publish. Which path did you decide to take, and what was the most challenging or I would say rewarding part of just getting your book to your readers' hands?
Well, I did the hybrid with Balboa Press.
Mhm.
I bought a book publishing package that included editing and marketing and stuff like that. But the marketing was, not that great on their part. It was very limited. It made me pay extra for PR, which was really not very good. I wouldn't recommend that. So Balboa Press, quite frankly, I wouldn't recommend it. But they were great because, I got it done. I put it in someone else's hands, so I couldn't procrastinate. They were calling me up saying, "What are we gonna do about this? What are we gonna do about that?" So, I would say do whatever you do, there's so many options now for people. But I bought this Balboa Press package years ago. And like I said, I was writing all sorts of things, but, I never actually got it done until, a couple of years ago. Anyway,
Mm,
yeah, so Balboa Press, hybrid, it was good. It got the job done. But,
mhm.
there's a lot to do after it's published. There's a lot of marketing and stuff.
Yeah, that's just the beginning.
Really. It's like a business card. Honestly, it hasn't changed my life that much. It's really like a business card.
Absolutely. Yeah. A nicer business card, but yeah, absolutely. Opens up the doors for different conversations, maybe.
It's good. I can put the word author next to my name.
Yeah,
And that's kind of cool, I
it
mean,
is cool. Mm. So, Catherine, as you know, this is the Resilient Author podcast. Resilience, shows up differently for all of us. Sometimes it's discipline. For some people, it's faith, and for me, it's always been community. What does community? What does community? But what does resilience look like for you these days?
oh, every day there's a challenge, it seems,
Mm,
The universe is throwing stuff at me all the time because I'm always growing and expanding.
mm,
And resilience is staying positive and trying to get your perspective expanded
mm,
beyond and make even the biggest thing that some people would crumble over. If you get a higher perspective, it can look like doable. You can get over it. And so I think it's one day at a time, baby steps. And when you get down, reach out for help. A lot of people think they have to do everything on their own. They have to write their book on their own. They have to do everything. But you know what? It doesn't hurt to reach out and ask for help when you need it.
absolutely. Yeah, asking for help is it's important. It's a lost art for some people, but yeah, it's really important to ask for help.
Yeah, I heard a good quote actually this morning. What was it? It was like, asking for help is not giving up.
That's good.
So, yeah, yeah. What was it? I wrote it down. Well, as is refusing to give up. Asking for help is refusing to give up.
Mm, I like that. You write down quotes when you come across them.
You too.
Nice. Yeah, I do. I do that too. I kind of have a bunch of random stuff over.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. So Catherine, a lot of the listeners are, sitting on a story. They've opened up a couple documents. Maybe they've typed a couple chapters, but the book's not done. Some people haven't started yet. What would you say to someone who feels called to write, but just isn't sure they're ready or just can't seem to get that momentum? What would you say to them?
I would say to them not to worry about it because I was the same for a while, and sometimes you have to let it incubate. Sometimes it's the book is waiting for you to have another experience. Because you learn from every single, whether it's a failure, you call it whatever you want. I don't believe in failures. I believe in lessons. So I have a feeling that you need to progress before the book can progress. Sometimes you need to put yourself into a challenging position. And another thing is if you have writer's block, again, the library is a great place to be if you have writer's block because you're not only surrounded by all those other authors on the shelves, but you can go to your topic at the library and just read up on what other people wrote about your topic. I used to do that. I used to go, people, because when I first started telling people I'm writing a book about self-love, they were, oh no, really? They were very negative. They were like, "What are you doing that for? There's so many books about self-love out there." I mean, people, believe me, don't tell anyone you're doing it because you're not going to always get good news. And I thought, is there? I didn't know there were that many books about it. So I started looking. There's hardly any books about self-love, actually. So when I was in writer's block, I would take out some of these self-love so-called books and I'd look at them and I'd read them. I thought, wow, I've got original ideas. This book isn't the be all end all of self-love. I've got
Mm,
stuff to say, man. And I would put my own spin on whatever they were. Sometimes they were very clinical,
mm,
and mine's more heart-based. So I think people need, if they get stuck, they need to believe in themselves. They need to believe in their message and get excited, get passionate about it again.
mm. I love that. So before we close, Kathryn, I'd love to know what you're up to now. What are you working on? What's coming next? Any new books? Any retreats? Any projects? What are you excited about now?
Oh my gosh, I have so many projects. I moved to Los Angeles, and
Oh,
and since I've been in LA, I've been approached for turning the book into a documentary and that sort of thing. So I've got that going on.
mm,
But I'm also on Insight Timer as a teacher. Insight Timer is the number one free meditation app in the world. There's
it's a
30
great
million,
app.
yeah, 30 million people that have that app. And
Oh,
they said to me, they said, "Oh, do you want to put one of your retreats up on our site? Because we're just going to start promoting retreats." And I've already had quite a few retreats. So this will be my sixth one. So I said, "Okay, great." So we found this amazing place in Costa Rica. It's a purpose built for retreats. It's beautiful in the mountains. And so we're having a wonderful retreat after Christmas. So I figure it's good timing, and we'll be there for New Year's Eve. You have a really healthy New Year's Eve, really fun up in the mountains of Costa Rica. And I'm excited about that. That's my number one thing I'm working on right now.
mm. That sounds really exciting. How many people can come to the retreat? Like how much space is available?
Well, I want to keep it to 20 or under. So we're looking at around, I don't know, we're looking at about 13 right now that we've got. So they're beautiful luxury cabins.
Mm,
And I would love to get a few more late stragglers who are interested in art, because we're going to be doing art. I have this amazing art coach coming every day. She's going to be getting you into creative expression and learning what's deep in your soul coming out on this beautiful art, we're going to do every
mm,
day. It's amazing. And then, of course, we do a little yoga, do a little meditation, we do hiking, waterfalls, cacao ceremony. And I have the number one musician sound healer in Costa Rica coming for a sound bath.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's gonna be
That
so.
sounds amazing.
It
Wow.
is
Yeah.
amazing. It's for people who are giving, giving, giving all year. They
Mm,
just give to other people. And this is why it's a self-love retreat. Because honestly, don't you deserve 1 week just to yourself? I mean, you got Thanksgiving with the family, then you got Christmas, and it's give, 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 buy, 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 shop, 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 cook all the time. And then you're exhausted. And I thought, well, you know what? On the 27th of December, you get on a flight, you arrive in Costa Rica on 28th, and I am there at the airport to pick you up. And we're going to spoil you rotten for a week.
mm. That sounds incredible. I think if my wife and I could find some babysitters, we would try to figure it out. We're in
Get
Norway,
it?
so it'd be a little bit
Get it?
of a flight, but wow, I bet it's warm. I bet the climate's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
that
deserve
sounds
it.
amazing.
Yeah, you deserve it. People don't realize you deserve it. That's what I'm trying to self-love message is so important.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. So I would love to invite you to what I call the lightning round. It's just 5 questions. Just speak from your heart. Um, I'll start with what's one book that changed your life?
Ah, well, Marianne Williamson, A Return to Love.
I had a
So
feeling you're gonna say it.
first thought, good information. I'm sure there's others. I mean, okay, here's a classic, The Power of Alpha Thinking
Just
by Jeff Stern.
mm,
Classic, very old book.
mm.
That's
that,
just my
that looks like an original copy right there.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. Yeah, I have a couple really good ones. And then there's, of course, the classic Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. That's
Mm,
a good one too.
that's good stuff. So here's a fun one. If you could have dinner with any author, past or present, who would it be?
Mhm. Oh, is this supposed to be a lightning round? Okay, it's supposed to be quicker than that. Um, I think Elizabeth, Eat, Pray, Love, Elizabeth
Mm,
Gilbert,
mm,
because she wrote my book. I basically, when I read Eat, Pray, Love, I thought, damn, she wrote my memoir. I'm mad.
mm.
So I would love to meet her.
Yeah, that was a great movie. I didn't read the book, but great movie. When it comes to getting ideas out, are you more of a writer or a talker?
Ooh, I'm both because I take notes when people are talking. I love to take notes. I love to write. That's how I get things into my brain is through writing. But also I like to speak too. You know, I'm a teacher, so I have to speak.
Mm, hybrid. Love it. All right. Finish this sentence. Writing my book taught me to.
Keep going.
Mm,
Taught me to not give up.
mm. In one word, what does resilience mean to you?
When I hear the word resilience, I think of a palm tree that's in a hurricane and it is flattened by the wind. And as soon as the storm goes by, the palm tree comes right back up again.
Mm, I love that visual. So, Kathryn, if you could, I'm going to bring you into the final chapter. If you could leave one piece of advice or encouragement with our listeners today, something they'll carry, long after this episode, what would it be?
To lighten up,
Mm,
to lighten up on yourself. And if you lighten up on yourself, give yourself a break with that inner voice that can be so harsh and critical. Switch it over to a loving cheerleader voice, even. And lightening up on yourself, you'll start to lighten up on everyone else around you and the world. So, less judgment for yourself means less judgment for everyone around you. And let more love and light into your life. Lighten
mm,
the heck up, people.
mm. I'm going to take that in. I'm just going to take a deep breath if I can. I needed to hear.
Good, good.
This has truly been a pleasure. I really appreciate you sharing a piece of your journey. Before we wrap up, where can people find your book and follow your journey?
Well, the book is on Amazon or Barnes and Noble. And yes, the Befriend Yourself, I'll put it up there. That's me on one of my retreats in Costa Rica. They took a picture of me. Yeah, the original cover it was terrible that the publisher did. It looked like a romance novel. It was terrible. So I
Oh,
said,
no.
just put this up. I don't care. It's fine.
Excellent. And also, Kathryn, your retreat, if people are interested in that, where can they find more information?
Well, the Self-Love Art Retreat has a website called lightenupreetreat.com. And everything is there for you to find out all the details and book a connection call and meet myself and Priscilla and find out if it's the right fit for you or not.
That sounds great. Well, thank you again for being here. And yeah, maybe in a couple of months, we can circle back and see how things are going for you.
That'd be great. I'll let you know if this movie deal and how the retreat goes. Hopefully, I'll have some great news.
Yeah, I imagine you will. Thank you for your time, Kathryn.
Thank you, Carrie.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you so much for tuning into the Resilient Author Podcast. I hope today's conversation gave you both inspiration and practical tools for your own journey. If you've been carrying the idea for a book, but haven't started, or you started and feel stuck, I'd love to invite you to join my 5-day Speak Your Book Challenge. In just 5 days, you'll speak the outline of your first draft and discover how to turn it into a finished manuscript and a published book. You can join anytime at voicetobook.co/challenge. Until next time, keep going, stay resilient, and remember, your story matters.